Good evening, everyone. This is the Mastermind Millennial Channel. My name is EJ. Real quick, I want to read this article from Newsmaxx and just want to highlight what's not in the news. So let me set this up. Mayor de Blasio in the city of New York decided to deliver an executive order mandating that anyone who doesn't have a measles vaccine must be quarantined, can't go certain places, and they have to get a shot. Oh, and by the way, if we find out who you are, we're going to investigate. We're going to force your children or you to get the shot, and you can be fined or go to jail. Seriously? So what's not in the news? According to the article on Newsmaxx, I think about a week ago, court halts Rockland County's anti-measles emergency order. Real quick, stay with me. The article says a state judge has issued a preliminary injunction against a suburban New York county's emergency order banning children from public places unless they've been vaccinated against measles. Supreme Court Justice Rolf Thorsen ruled last Friday in favor of several dozen parents challenging Rockland County Executive Ed's orders, part of efforts to stop a measles outbreak that has infected 166 people over 6 months. 166 people over 6 months does not constitute an epidemic, and that's what the judge says. The 30-day order enacted on March 26 bans unvaccinated people under 18 from gathering in schools, in churches, and stores. The civil rights lawyer Michael Sussman called the action arbitrary and capricious. The judge said such emergency orders cannot exceed 5 days. He also noted that 166 cases in a population of 330,000 over 6 months doesn't constitute an epidemic meriting an emergency declaration. I agree. Thank you, Judge, for throwing some logic in here. You know, you want to arrest people, you want to force people to vaccinate their children. This is not 1905, and there's a smallpox outbreak, and people need to get vaccinated. You know, it's not. It's the measles. Okay, this is a regular thing that a lot of children and older people go through, or who haven't been vaccinated. But it doesn't constitute an executive saying you can't go anywhere, stay in your homes. If we find out who you are, guess what? We're going to prosecute you and there will be trouble. Look, if a woman has the right to choose what she does for her body, so do parents, okay, for their children who are underage. So do adults, okay? You cannot. What about the flu? The flu every year, oh, it's an epidemic. You got to get a flu shot. But nobody's enforcing it. What about HIV? Folks with HIV, AIDS, STD. No one is enforcing these people to get vaccinated. Well, you can't get vaccinated. But no one is forcing people to take medication to maybe stem the outbreak or the effects of this. This is bad logic. So I'm glad this happened in the state of New York. And I've already read articles that Mayor de Blasio's executive order most likely won't stand, because you cannot force people to inject themselves or get injected with something they don't agree with. Now, of course, you might say, well, look, we don't want it to spread. Look, I understand that. If it was an epidemic of massive proportion for a terminal disease that really carries some huge pandemic issue, I still couldn't understand it then. Okay, this is why we vote for politicians to make good policy. This is bad policy, because as a human, I get to choose what goes inside of my body. People put opioids, drugs, alcohol in their body, and no one has written any laws to stop them from doing that. So why are we starting now? We cannot take people's personal freedom away as a knee-jerk reaction to something. Folks, we gotta calm down. And I'm not talking to you, I'm just saying in general. We can't make bad choices like this just because it's an emotional decision. This is an emotional decision. It's not logical. Oh, and by the way, a judge in the state of New York agrees. So what do you think? I'm not advocating for people to not get vaccinated. I'm not. That's a personal choice. Just like an abortion is a personal choice. Just like whether or not to get a flu shot is a personal choice. The government should not be in the business of dictating to people what goes inside their bodies. That is overboard and unacceptable. Hey, this is the Mastermind Millennial Channel. My name is EJ. Till next time, stay informed.